Welcome back. We're back to Needing for Speeding.
Needing full speeds, please.
Ugh.
That's what I call the event.
Today is very much a last minute sort of recording thing because, like, I had to come up and be like, hey guys, just letting you know how the footage corrupted last time? Ha! Well, it actually was really bad.
Managed to get 3 episodes.
And so we need to record, like, post-haste. And it's like, alright. So yeah, we was just saying at the end of the last episode, Frank's currently in the background working on some Minecraft shit. So, a little behind-the-scenes look for you folks out there who give a shit about that stuff, which I do. Can I tell you something? I am a behind-the-scenes fucking whore.
Okay.
I don't know about saying that far, but I do definitely have an interest when I see things behind the scenes for a lot of stuff, or when things are like explained more.
In Minecraft, which that episode probably isn't even out yet, but I recently watched the Christopher Nolan Batman films.
Yep.
And basically what I do is, like, one night I would watch one film, and then the next night I would watch the making of, and then the next night I'd watch another film, and then the next night I'd watch the making of, or all the behind the scenes of. Because I find it very interesting.
So, I'm gonna pitch an idea live for the next same series. After we finish Minecraft or Need for Speed, we can,
because this series hasn't already got a ton of suggestions for other series.
No, it's fine. We can watch a Lord of the Rings movie, then the director's cut, and the director's cut version of it, then the making of, and we finish all 3 of them and all their making ofs. We can then watch the Silmarillion.
So here's the thing: I do have the giant 6-disc box sets for all 3 Lord of the Rings movies. I have all of those. Hours upon hours upon hours of behind the scenes shit.
Right.
I wish I had more box sets like that, honestly, because I was saying with the Dark Knight stuff, I'm like, there's gonna be like a million things they could talk about, but no, not really. In the Dark Knight box set, or the films, just the Dark Knight one, it was just talking about the vehicles and stuff and the car chases. They didn't do anything about, like, the actors or the writing or anything like that. I was like, okay. I mean, it's still interesting how they did all the chases, and the practical effects, but I don't know. I always want more. I'm always unsatisfied with the amount of
definitely.
BTS stuff.
In general, there's like a lot of things that I appreciate, even if it's just for the fact that it's explaining something. It's like why I like anime like Dr. Stone or Food Wars, where, it's like a pretty simple show, but it gives you like a rudimentary explanation of either science or cooking, and it's actually pretty interesting to get those kind of explanations then put into a show.
I get that. I get that for sure. I actually think there is like an anime or something like that does scratch that itch for me. I can't think of what it is though. Dr. Stone definitely didn't. I think I have brought it up, but I don't like that show at all. I gave it the classic 3 episodes, and I was like, this...
it can be kind of slow, but it just hooked me onto it, and once the anime hooks me, I'm like...
What I didn't like was how fast it was, and how much it was just going out of its way to get to the point, as opposed to, like, actually explaining the world building or anything like that.
Well, see, that's the thing with Dr. Stone, is they hurried... The first 3 episodes of Dr. Stone hurried the start of it, and then it slows down.
It's just
and then elaborates on the world more after they get like the full setting in and like, oh, this is everything that's happening, this is what we got to do.
It's been a while since I watched it, but
fucking
I just
stops like
a
car crash.
Okay, well maybe that's better, because I like it when they take the time to explain the world and the characters and their emotions and how they're feelings and stuff like that. Because for those of you who don't know, in Dr. Stone, basically everyone on Earth turns to stone, and then like a million years goes by.
Happens that just turns every I was gonna say every living thing, but that's not true. It turns
all humans,
birds, and people to stone, which is weird.
Sure.
Because like in the first episode, the reason they like the first hint that you get that something's weird is they're like, this fucking bird's stone. What's going on here?
Well, and then, like, the scientist, Dr. Stone, I suppose, I don't know if that's his name or not, he breaks out, and then he uses, like, a little bit, like, a water thing to break out his friend as well. By the way, these guys are teenagers, of course, because you can't be an anime protagonist above the age of 15 or something. And then, like, we gotta save like, the girl that they love or whatever, and they're really rushing along really quickly. But I think the thing that really broke me was that they broke out, I shit you not, a student who was voted like most caveman-like of them all.
Yeah,
Or something like that. That's like his thing. He was voted most caveman student. And they break him out, and he's like, this is my chance to start the world anew with no grown-ups. And I'm like, what the fuck is this, Jimmy Neutron? And then he goes off and creates his own society. And it's like, this guy is like 12 years old. He looks like he's 50. And he's like, I was born to live in this age. And I'm like, what the fuck is happening? It's so stupid.
So like, obviously his backstory gets, like, explained a little bit more. And I don't know if they covered it at the very beginning, but they do explain, or they do talk about, like, early on how his activities outside of school were, like, strictly fighting for title matches and shit like that.
Look,
so that's why he has the
they can
nickname
explain
of
it all
Caveman.
they want. It is just stupid.
And then,
okay?
like, the opposite is he has the mindset of, you know, people are greedy fucks. We live in this society, Lamau society, where, you know,
It's literally that
it's
Joker,
all
baby.
about, like, lineage and shit, where he's like, nah, we're gonna do might makes right, and I'm gonna do this shit the right way.
With my Sonic video that I posted the other day, someone was like, how have you never played Sonic before? And I just replied to them saying, I'm the Joker, baby. Which reminded me, there's another comment on my my latest tier 2 video. I didn't reply to it, but I really wish I did, because it's too late now, but they were like, what on earth compelled you to just use Sonic music for this whole thing? And I was just going to say, it was an act from God. And I was left it at that. There was a few other shows I was watching when Dr. Stone
Show.
came out. I gave like a few different anime, because everyone was like, oh, I was trying to get into it, and people were like, these are the new shows that are really good. I'm like, oh, okay. And there was Dr. Stone and something else that came out around that time, and that also didn't interest me at all.
Yeah, I
And I was
don't
really disillusioned.
I don't remember what shows came out same time as Dr. Stone. But you know, I do the same thing. There's like a lot of anime that people go, oh, this is like peak anime. This is the best anime. And it's like people who literally just talk about anime for a living. And then I'll watch it and I'll be like, no, this just isn't for me. I mean, it just happens. Like, everyone, you know, sometimes people go, this is a really good show. It's because they like that kind of show. And it's like,
Yeah.
it's fair if someone else doesn't like it.
Food Wars was one as well that I did watch. I watched like the first 3 episodes. I'm like, just shut up.
So you know, I hear all these memes
I remember
about
exactly what it was as well that bothered me about it. But you can go on.
it. Right. So I hear all these memes about it, and I'm like, all right, this is a meme show. This was after I had watched the first like 5 episodes of Eromanga Sensei as a meme.
Right.
Which, if you've never watched, that's probably for the better.
I don't know what that is.
And so I watched it, and the first episode happens, which has the squid scene in it. And I was like, oh, sick. So this is just another really bad show. And then I watched the next 4 episodes of it. And I'm like, I kind of like this show now.
I'll tell you what I didn't like about Food Wars, but you can tell me what you liked about it first. Now I'll rip into it and tell you why you're wrong.
No, you go ahead, because I feel like what you're about to say might be is the opposite of what I said. You go
Alright,
first.
well, I don't think so, because I don't think a lot of people noticed. The problem was with it is that the show had no stakes, okay? And I'll tell you why. In the first 3 episodes, so basically, the whole idea is this guy goes to a cooking school, but it's not just any cooking school, right? It's the world's greatest cooking school, and it's super, like, cutthroat and, like, tough and stuff like that. And your punishment for failing is expulsion, right? So if you fail, you get expelled. You just get kicked out of the school, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, so he will never fail then, because the stake is so high that he couldn't possibly fail it, and that's exactly what happens. And like, so I'm like, well why should I bother watching this if that's all it's going to be?
It's not fully not failing. It's just specific things not failing. Because like, I don't know if it shows up in the first 3 episodes, but the main side character is this blue-haired girl who has like no confidence in herself, and that's like her character development. But when she's introduced, you get the explanation that she's failing like 90% of her courses, and if she fails the next course, she'll get expelled. So it's mostly
Right.
just like the entrance exam, and then like some more very important things might lead to that.
Well, there wasn't just that. It was like in the first few episodes, they were like, I think it was having like a few one-on-one competitions or whatever. It's like, all right, whoever loses gets expelled, and it's just like, well, then I know for a fact he's not going to lose, then, is he? Because the whole show takes place, in this, revolves around this damn school. And then I was just like, okay, well, tell you what. I remember actually thinking, I was like, well, it's not about whether or not he wins or not, it's how he wins, right? But I remember they didn't really even show you much of that. He was just extremely talented, and that was it. And I was like, oh, okay. And again, maybe they fixed it later, but I was just like,
I remember which ones
it's
were
been
in the
a while
first
since
3
I watched it.
episodes.
But I definitely remember, like, yeah, I remember thinking, okay, so there's no stakes, he's gonna win, but how is he gonna win? They don't really elaborate much on that either. He just kind of is super talented naturally and is amazing at it and can never be beaten, and he creates the world's most delicious food ever. And I'm like, well, okay. And then I just kind of turned it off and never thought about it again.
Yeah, I mean, like the main thing is just explaining
Don't watch
how he
anime,
makes
it
the.
sucks, all of it.
So, like, the main thing is, yeah, it's a little predictable, like 90% of the time, except for the obvious 1 or 2 curveballs they throw during the show, because it's a shonen anime. However, unfortunately, I am shonen pilled, which means that doesn't bother me anymore, and I just am interested in the tweaks to the normal formula that set it apart from literally just being the same as every shonen.
Can I tell you something? Actually, in the vein of being shonen pilled, I have a higher tolerance for anime than I think a lot of people do. Because I know there's a lot of shit that happens in those shows in anime that people would instantly just be like, what the fuck? Oh, I don't get this, and turn it off. I got a lot of leeway on that kind of stuff.
This is the common meme that I have a shower thought of when I hear people complaining about anime. They're like, wow, this 13-year-old can fire magic from his hands using his spirit energy. And meanwhile they go, yo, Game of Thrones is sick though. Do you see these dragons that breathe fire?
No, that kind of stuff doesn't bother me at all. The whole, there is a trope that like every anime protagonist is like 12 years old. I don't mind that at all. That really doesn't bother me. I don't mind when it gets occasionally a little bit too
etchy,
lewd.
Yeah.
And every now and then saying things like, wow, you can't say that in this country. But I'm used to that. That's fine. Whatever.
See, that's the other thing.
Think about it.
You can tell that a person is fully shonen pilled if you can watch Food Wars and not go, the ecchi makes me not want to watch this show, because that's like half of the show.
The what?
The lewdness, the perceived pervertedness of it, where the joke is the food is so good it knocks your socks off.
Yeah.
So they represent that as imagining this happening of their clothes exploding because the food is so good.
No, but I've been knocked out.
Oh, okay.
And so I just think it's funny. I don't go, oh man, her clothes blew off, I hate this show. I just go, that's just funny.
No. I'm definitely, like, you can't watch anime and expect it to never... I don't think I've ever watched a single anime that doesn't at least have a little bit of lewdness. Even the most PC and, like, fine and totally not about it anime.
Yeah, that's true. But,
so I'm used to it. I'm totally fine. I don't even... It doesn't even register
to pushing that line, though, is why I've realized that it just doesn't phase me.
That's why when I brought up my problem with Food Wars, I didn't say that. That didn't bother me, because I expected that.
Yeah.
The only show actually where the lewdness or whatever really, really pissed me off was, what's it called? Trinity 7? Is that what it's called?
Maybe. I think I've heard of that before, but never watched it though.
Well, I'll talk to you about it next time. How's that sound, everyone?
Yeah, sounds good.
Next time I'm gonna stop the recording. Okay, bye bye.